Welcome to Screenflix. Today, we're looking at 5 great movies on Netflix you need to watch before they are removed. This is your final chance to watch these timeless classics that have shaped the landscape of cinema and pushed the boundaries of storytelling. Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions, thrilling twists, and thought-provoking moments as we embark on this cinematic journey together. Without further ado, sit back and let's uncover the first movie. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. In July last year, Eddie Murphy returned as his iconic character, Axel Foley, to clean up the streets of Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills Cop is a classic action comedy film released in 1984, starring Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley, a Detroit police detective who heads to Beverly Hills to solve the murder of his best friend. The film was directed by Martin Brest and was a huge success, both critically and commercially. It's known for its mix of action, humor, and memorable characters, particularly Murphy's charismatic performance as Axel Foley. The film spawned 2 sequels, Beverly Hills Cop 2 in 1987 and Beverly Hills Cop 3 in 1994. Detective Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, is back on the beat in Beverly Hills. After his daughter's life is threatened, she, Taylor Page, and Foley team up with a new partner, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and old pals Billy Rosewood, Judge Reinhold, and John Taggart, John Ashton, to turn up the heat and uncover a conspiracy. Throughout the film, Foley's street-smart wit and resourcefulness help him stay one step ahead of the criminals and eventually lead him to the truth behind Mikey's murder. The story is filled with action-packed sequences, comedic moments, and memorable characters, culminating in a thrilling showdown where Foley brings the criminals to justice. Next up is Apollo 13, which was released in 1995 and directed by Ron Howard. It stars Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, and Ed Harris, basically the Hollywood dream team of the 90s. The movie is based on a true story and is about NASA's Apollo 13 mission in 1970, which was supposed to be another let's land on the moon and show off to the Soviets, but instead things went sideways, fast. And what followed was one of the most intense, real-life survival stories in space history. Everything starts off great. Jim Lovell, Tom Hanks, Fred Hayes, Bill Paxton, and Jack Swigert, Kevin Bacon are pumped for their mission. They're heading to the moon, living the astronaut dream. Back on Earth, Mission Control, led by Gene Kranz, Ed Harris, is making sure everything runs smoothly. And then, boom! Literally, an oxygen tank explodes, and suddenly that smooth space trip turns into a desperate fight to stay alive. The famous line, "Houston, we have a problem," comes in, and you can feel the weight of it. The explosion cripples the spacecraft, and just like that, landing on the moon is out of the question. Now, it's about one thing: getting back home. From here on, it's pure chaos. The astronauts are running out of oxygen. Power is limited. Carbon dioxide levels are rising. It's like a space horror movie, except it actually happened. Meanwhile, down in Houston, the NASA team is scrambling, throwing out ideas, trying to figure out how to bring these guys back home in one piece. They even have to build a CO2 filter out of duct tape, a sock, and some other random stuff lying around. And then there's re-entry. The spacecraft has to hit Earth's atmosphere at the perfect angle. Too steep and they burn up. Too shallow and they skip off into space forever. The tension is off the charts. Everyone is watching, waiting, hoping. Radio silence. For minutes, there's nothing. Just silence. The world holds its breath. And then, static. Then, voices. They made it. The capsule splashes down in the Pacific, and the world erupts in relief. The movie ends with Jim Lovell narrating what happened to everyone after. No, they never made it to the moon, but they did something even more incredible. They survived the impossible. Now, heading in a slightly different genre, we're looking at the 2015 movie Sicario, the movie that takes you on a nerve-wracking ride into the dark world of drug cartels, moral dilemmas, and people who play by their own rules. The movie came out in 2015, directed by Denis Villeneuve, with cinematography so good it makes you feel like you're right there, sweating in the desert. The movie stars Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin, each playing their role so well that you forget you're watching a movie and start feeling like you just got roped into a DEA sting operation. We follow Kate Macer, Emily Blunt, an FBI agent who's really good at her job, taking down kidnappers, busting drug houses, the usual. But she gets recruited for a mysterious operation led by a guy named Matt Graver, Josh Brolin, a laid-back but clearly powerful government type who wears flip-flops like he's on vacation. He's got an off-the-books mission to take down a powerful cartel, and he needs Kate because, well, she follows the rules. Enter Alejandro, Benicio del Toro. Right away, you can tell this guy has seen things. He barely speaks, he watches everything, and when he does talk, it's the kind of thing that makes you rethink your life choices. The mission starts, and suddenly, Kate is in a world where laws don't seem to matter, where decisions are made in the shadows, and where the goal is simple: kill the people in charge and send a message. One of the most intense scenes is when they cross the border into Juarez, Mexico. The tension is unreal. The convoy moves through the streets, cartel spotters watching from rooftops, and corrupt cops lurking around every corner. And then, bam! A traffic jam ambush. The way the scene is shot, you feel the danger, the paranoia, the split-second decisions that decide who lives and who dies. As things unfold, Kate realizes she's just a pawn. She thought she was here to enforce the law, but really, she's being used to give legitimacy to something way darker. Turns out, Alejandro isn't just some quiet dude with a gun. He's got a personal vendetta. The cartel leader they're hunting? He killed Alejandro's family. And now, Alejandro is about to return the favor. By the end, Kate is forced to sign a document saying everything they did was legal, when it absolutely wasn't. Alejandro even puts a gun to her head to make sure she understands. It's brutal. The movie doesn't end with a neat resolution. It leaves you with a pit in your stomach because, honestly, this is how things work in that world. There are no heroes, just people doing what they think needs to be done. The last three movies you just have to watch are three movies that cannot be more different: Black Hawk Down, Notting Hill, and Meet the Parents. One's an intense war film, one's a classic rom-com, and one's a comedy about your worst nightmare in-law experience. But somehow, they're all great movies, and movies you just need to watch. First up, Black Hawk Down. If you like action, chaos, and seeing helicopters do things they really shouldn't be doing, this one's for you. Released in 2001 and directed by Ridley Scott, this movie tells the true story of a US military mission in Somalia in 1993 that went horribly wrong. The plan? Send in elite soldiers, capture some bad guys, and get out. Simple, right? Nope. A Black Hawk helicopter goes down, and suddenly it's a full-blown war in the streets of Mogadishu. The movie is 2.5 hours of pure intensity, with bullets flying, soldiers fighting to survive, and a cast packed with every actor from the early 2000s who ever played a military guy. Josh Hartnett, Eric Bana, Ewan McGregor, Tom Hardy, and even Orlando Bloom. The film does a great job of making you feel the sheer chaos of combat. It doesn't glorify war, it throws you right into it. You're there in the dust, dodging bullets, feeling the desperation of the soldiers just trying to make it out alive. The soundtrack is haunting. Hans Zimmer's score making sure you never get too comfortable. And the cinematography, gritty, raw, and absolutely stunning. One of the most intense moments comes when the soldiers realize they're stuck. Reinforcements are struggling to get in. The streets are full of armed enemies, and all they can do is dig in and survive the night. There's no hero moment, no grand speech, just soldiers trying to stay alive in a situation that never should have happened in the first place. By the end, Black Hawk Down leaves you with a mix of exhaustion and awe. It's a brutal, unflinching look at modern warfare, showing both the bravery of soldiers and the tragic cost of war. If you're looking for a movie that pulls no punches, this is it. But let's shake off that tension because next up, Notting Hill. You know the story, a regular guy, a famous girl, and a love story that should never work, but somehow does. This 1999 rom-com stars Hugh Grant as a charmingly awkward bookstore owner, and Julia Roberts as a world-famous actress who stumbles into his shop. They fall in love, face obstacles, and deliver some of the most quotable lines in romantic movie history. "I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her." Iconic. From the moment Anna Scott, Julia Roberts, walks into Williams' Hugh Grant's bookstore, their chemistry is undeniable, but their worlds couldn't be more different. She's constantly hounded by the press, living a life of luxury and pressure, while he's just a normal guy with a tiny flat and an even tinier fridge. And yet, they connect in a way that feels real. One of the best things about Notting Hill is its humor. It's not just romance. It's packed with hilarious moments, mostly thanks to William's eccentric group of friends, and of course, his absurdly weird roommate Spike. Every scene with Spike is comedy gold, whether he's answering the door in his underwear or giving questionable fashion advice. He steals the show. But the movie isn't just laughs. It's about love in the real world. How relationships aren't just about chemistry, but about dealing with baggage, making sacrifices, and taking risks. There's a scene where William tries to move on, dating other people, but none of them compare to Anna. And when she returns, asking for another chance, you feel every bit of his hesitation and longing. The ending? Classic rom-com perfection. William races through London to stop Anna from leaving. They confess their love, and we get the happily ever after we were hoping for. It's sweet, it's funny, and it's the kind of movie that makes you believe in love again. Now, going from Notting Hill to Meet the Parents feels like crashing from a romantic dream into an absolute disaster. But that's exactly what this movie is, a hilarious, awkward disaster. Released in 2000, it stars Ben Stiller as Greg, a guy who just wants to impress his girlfriend's dad, played by Robert De Niro. The problem? Her dad is a former CIA agent who can smell fear. What follows is a series of escalating disasters. Greg loses the family cat, accidentally sets the backyard on fire, and gets caught in a lie-detecting nightmare. Every scene is pure secondhand embarrassment, but you can't look away. From the moment Greg arrives at his girlfriend's family home, things go wrong. Jack Burns, De Niro, is watching him like a hawk, throwing out subtle threats while smiling like a man who has definitely waterboarded someone before. The infamous polygraph test scene is a masterclass in comedic tension. Watching Greg sweat while Jack effortlessly breaks him down, priceless. And then there's Jinx, the cat. Oh, Jinx. Greg, in an attempt to impress the family, lets the cat outside and loses him. So, what does he do? He tries to replace him with a nearly identical cat, which of course backfires in the worst way possible. The dinner scene? A nightmare. Greg accidentally spikes the family's beloved urn with a volleyball, sending human ashes flying everywhere. Just when you think it can't get worse, he literally sets the backyard on fire. By the end, you're almost rooting for him to just run away and never look back. But despite all the disasters, Meet the Parents works because it's so painfully relatable. Who hasn't wanted to impress their partner's family? Who hasn't felt like everything they do is somehow wrong? The movie is pure anxiety wrapped in comedy gold. What was your favorite movie? Remember, all 6 movies won't be around forever, so you don't have much time to watch your favorites. If you've enjoyed this review, make sure you like and subscribe, and ring the little bell so that you don't miss our next movie review when it's released soon.